Hello and welcome back. Last time we left off with our basic column done and ready to populate our table. Alright, in today's tutorial we're going to create the users tile and then get it ready to generate content from our Python file. Alright, so just gonna close that out, and what I'm gonna do is first I am actually going to go to right here. Alright, and what I want to do, actually I'm going to do this here. I want to add some padding to the top so that the button and the table do not mix. Alright, so left will be 0 to the top, which is what I want, will be 16. To the left, 0 to the bottom, 0. Alright, and that should do it. Alright, so now let's create our user tile. So we will go to our users.py. We'll just copy this whole thing, go down, change this to user tile because that is exactly what it is, and then give it some properties. So the first thing will be first name, and this will be a string property because it's a string. Then this is going to be last name, and then username, and then we have password, which is a string as well. Basically all of them are strings, so this will be date. Actually just going to do created, and then last log in, just like that, and we are done with those. So now we can simply go to our users.kv and create the styles for our user tile. Alright, so down here we're just going to do user tile, and remember user tile is a box layout. Alright, so what we want to do in our user tile is the first thing we want to do really is to give it a static height. So we're just going to make it about how big is this thing? I think this size is cool, so we're just gonna do that, 42. And now if you check our user tile, it has basically bottom lines or dividers here. So what we're gonna do is we could simply add a widget which will be our bottom, or we could basically paint the user tile canvas to have that line at the bottom. Alright, which is exactly what we're going to do. So we're just going to do RGBA, and the RGBA is going to be, the color is going to be secondary BG. And what we want to do is, I'm actually not going to use an actual line, I'm going to use a rectangle with a really small height. Okay, so the position is going to be self-imposed, but the size is just going to be, for the x-axis, well, we want it to be self.size, not self.self, but self.size 0. So the width of this rectangle is going to be whatever the width of this user tile is, but the height is going to be 1. Okay, and with that we are done with that bottom line. So next what we want to do is actually we literally want to just copy all of this. Alright, so up to here, copy that, and I believe everything else is in order. So we're just going to copy that, paste it down here, make sure we are tapped in correctly. Alright, just like that, and then move these two to the top because that is where they belong. Alright, now all we have to do now is just like replace these with our properties. So we call this one first name, we called that one last name, we called this one username, and and then this is password word. Alright, and this is date created. I believe we just called it created. Created. Ooh. And then finally, this is just going to be last login. Sorry about that. Last login. Just like that. And I believe everything is done now. So now is the time to test it out. So in our render function, we are just going to create a very small function down here called get users, right? Just like that. And pass for now. And then in here, what we're gonna do is t1 is equal to thread, and the target for our thread is equal to self.getUsers, and yeah, that's definitely making it daemon. Alright, and then we just want to start this thread, so t1 to start, and then we obviously need to import thread, so from threading, import thread. Good, all done. Now let's go to our API. Oh, we haven't started working on the API yet, right? Alright, anyway, that would mean that we can simply just do users is equal to, and users is just going to be a list of users. So for now, we'll just create a user. I'm just gonna call this one first name, and this will be Samuel, and last underscore name. That's what we have, last underscore name, yeah? First name, last name, username, and well, first Sam, password, and the password is going to be whatever. Created at, and this is going to be, let's just do 2023 01 12, and then time. Ooh, 90. Alright, actually just going to duplicate this because why not, right? And this is going to be 14 25 06, and this is signed underscore in. Alright, and that should be it. So let's just duplicate this 3 times, right? And then let's change this to alright, yeah, just to make sure that everything is working. Oof, 06, I don't know, 11, and this is the most boring thing I've ever to do today, really. John, yes, lovely password, John. That should be it. Alright, so when we start a thread, we get, remember when I said when we're working with threads in Kivy, you want to start the thread, but this thing which is on a different thread can actually not, it cannot modify Kivy properties. All right. So what we do is we start a thread on a different function, and then that function calls the function that is going to modify Kivy content. So we get users. Now we need another function which is set users. So set users is the function which is actually going to work with, well, setting users, right? Alright, so what we want is we want this set users to run in the main thread. Alright, so we're basically using a thread here so that we do not block Kivy's loop while we are getting users from our database. So after we get our users, we then want to set our users, but we cannot set them from this thread because it's not the main Kivy thread. Alright, so we're going to call a function that runs in the main Kivy thread, which is then going to, well, set the users. So now we're just going to do grid is equal to self.ids.gl users, because that is the grid layout we have made for adding users. Alright, and first we want to, when we get users, we want to clear whatever we have on that grid. Alright, and then we're just going to do for u in users. Alright, and we're just going to do ut is equal to user tile right there, and then ut dot first is equal to the user first underscore name underscore. Just going to duplicate that, and then we want last name, so last name. This is going to be username, so username, and then this is going to be password, so password. Alright, duplicate this 2 times. Now where there's password, we want it to be created. Alright, and it's actually created at. Alright, and then sign in. This is last login. Sign underscore in. Alright, now we have our user. All we have to do now is add it to our grid. So grid.add underscore widget. Well, what do we want to add? We want to add ut, which is our user. Alright, and with that said, we are done. I believe so. Alright, so let's run this and see if we get users on our table. Ooh, that didn't work. Created underscore at. Actually, I really hate these underscores, so just gonna do at, because most APIs have this notation instead of underscore. And with that said, let's change first name to first name, because when you work with APIs, you'll find that they actually use this notation a lot. So change that to n, change it here to n. Alright, and that should do it. So now we need to change that to just an at, and then that to I. Alright, looks cleaner now. Now I'm just going to have to change it here as well. No. Name. What is going on? Name. Created at, and then sign in. Alright, now let's run this. Let's see what we have. Ooh. Key error, sign in. Signed in, not sign in. Again, sorry about that. Alright, now let's go to our manage users, and we have our users listed here. Alright, so looking good. The last thing I want to do is remove You see this one is bold. We don't want those to be bold. Only the top column bar should be bold. Alright, so let's go to our users. Let's go to our text and let's just do FN for font name. Alright, and no, this is not Oksana. This is going to be app.fonts.body. I believe that's what we called it. Alright, just duplicating this to all of them. Now we run it and marvel at our awesomeness, ladies and gents. It's all done. Okay, so at this point we are done with the table. It's always going to be enough since it's a scroll view. So the next thing we want to do is we want to start working on the add new button, and that is what we're going to do in the next one. So if you have any questions regarding this part of the tutorial, leave them in the comment section. Otherwise, as always, I'm Sam and I will see you in the next one.